You know the feeling, right? You're so excited for that plate of fries, hoping for that perfect golden crunch, but instead, you get a handful of sad, soggy potato sticks. So what's the deal? Well, turns out the difference isn't just about cooking, it's about science. Today, we're going to dive deep into the chemistry and physics of what it takes to engineer the perfect French fry, one that's unbelievably fluffy on the inside and impossibly crispy on the outside.
So let's just chew on that question for a second. What if the secret isn't about having some special recipe, but more like a scientific formula? That's exactly what we're here to figure out. So let's put on our imaginary lab coats, treat our kitchen like a laboratory, and see if we can truly engineer the perfect fry.
Okay, first things first. Before you even think about heating up oil, the most important decision has already been made, and that is the potato itself. Turns out, not all potatoes are created equal, and believe me, picking the right one is the absolute foundation for everything that follows. And the science here really couldn't be clearer. In one corner, you've got your high-starch potatoes, like russets. These guys are basically built for the job. They give you that super fluffy interior and a beautiful, crisp crust. But on the other side, you've got the waxy potatoes, and honestly, they just can't hang. They stay too firm and dense, and instead of getting crispy, they just get soggy and oily. No contest. So what's the secret weapon inside those russet potatoes? It all comes down to this one molecule, amylose. You can think of it as the magic ingredient. See, when amylose gets hot, its granules swell up and separate from each other. That's what creates that light, fluffy texture we love. And it's also what helps build that perfect, dry shell on the outside. It's the real MVP of the fry world. All right, so you've got your champion potato picked out. Fantastic. But whatever you do, don't go near that fryer yet. What you do before the potato ever hits the oil, well, it's every bit as critical as the frying itself.
And it all comes down to two simple, but totally non-negotiable steps. First, you gotta give those cut potatoes a nice cold water soak for at least 15 minutes. And second, you have to get them completely, and I mean completely, bone dry. It sounds basic, I know, but this is exactly what sets the stage for a truly legendary crispy finish.
So you might be asking, why bother with the soak? Well, here's why it's so important. When you cut a potato, it releases this sticky starch all over the surface. If you leave it on, it acts like a gummy glue in the hot oil. That glue traps steam right under the surface, and trapped steam is the #1 cause of a soggy, sad fry. Soaking washes all that glue away, letting the steam escape like it's supposed to. And that brings us to the mortal enemy of all things crispy, moisture. Any little bit of water left on those fries is a disaster waiting to happen. The second a wet fry hits that hot oil, the oil's temperature plummets. And when that happens, the potato just soaks up grease instead of actually cooking. You end up with a heavy, oily mess. So yeah, a dry surface isn't just a good idea, it's essential. All right, everybody, deep breaths. This is the big one. This is the technique that all your favorite restaurants use to get that perfect, consistent result every single time. If there is one secret you need to master, this is it. It's the two-stage fry.
So the whole thing is broken into two totally separate phases. First up, we have the blanch. This happens at a lower temperature, and its only job is to cook the inside of the potato until it's perfectly soft and fluffy. You're not looking for any color here. Then you pull them out, let them rest. After that comes the second fry. Now you crank the heat way up. This fry has one mission and one mission only, to create that incredible, golden, crispy crust.
So what's actually going on in that second super hot fry? Well, it's just pure physics, and it's pretty cool. That intense heat forces any moisture left inside the potato to violently escape as steam. As it bursts out, it creates millions of microscopic bubbles all over the surface. And those tiny bubbles, they harden and set. And that, my friends, is what becomes the crunchy, delicious shell that we're all chasing. Okay, so we've got our potatoes prepped, and we know the two-stage method. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of what's happening in the fryer. We're talking about the oil, the heat, and where all that incredible flavor actually comes from. Now listen, the oil you choose is a really big deal. You absolutely need an oil with a high smoke point. Think peanut oil, canola, or sunflower oil. That second fry requires some seriously high heat, and if you use an oil with a low smoke point, it's just going to break down and burn. And trust me, that creates a bitter, nasty flavor that will ruin all of your hard work in an instant. And what about that beautiful golden brown color, that savory, can't-stop-eating-it taste? Well, for that, you can thank a gorgeous chemical process called the Maillard reaction. At high temperatures, the amino acids and sugars in the potato literally rearrange themselves into new compounds, creating all that deep flavor and that signature golden color.
And you've definitely experienced this reaction before. It's that savory crust on a perfectly seared steak. It's the delicious smell of bread toasting. It's the rich aroma of roasting coffee beans. The Maillard reaction is basically one of the most important sources of delicious flavor in the entire world of food.
We are so close. The fries are out of the oil, they're sizzling, they look perfect. But don't start celebrating just yet. The next few seconds are just as crucial as everything we've done so far. If you nail these last steps, you've officially achieved fry perfection.
When it comes to seasoning, timing is everything. You have to salt them the instant they come out of the fryer. See that little glistening sheen on the surface? That's your glue. That's what makes the salt stick. If you wait even 30 seconds, that surface dries out and the salt will just bounce right off.
And hey, for those of you who want to go to the next level, I'm talking that super craggy, ultra crispy, pub-style fry. Here's a little pro tip. Before you fry, parboil your potato pieces with a tiny pinch of baking soda in the water. The alkaline water roughens up the surface of the potato, creating all these amazing little nooks and crannies. And more nooks and crannies means more surface area for crunch. It's a game changer.
Phew, okay, that was a whole lot of science. So let's wrap it all up with a simple checklist. Think of this as your guide to what not to do, your secret weapon for avoiding fry failure and guaranteeing crispy success every single time.
All right, let's run through the big no-nos. Using waxy potatoes? Don't do it. Not getting them completely dry? Remember, moisture is the enemy. Only frying them once? That's a classic rookie mistake. Overcrowding the fryer or using oil that's not hot enough? Both are deadly sins. And finally, salting before you fry. Just avoid these common pitfalls and you're golden, literally.
So there you have it. The perfect fry isn't some kitchen mystery. It's a scientific blueprint. It's about understanding the chemistry inside the potato, the physics of how moisture escapes, and mastering those high heat reactions. Now that you're armed with all this science, what's the next food we should break down and demystify together?